But it's time now for a look at today's French newspapers with our press reviewer, Florence Vimino, who joins me here in the studio. Florence, that hostage crisis in Algeria, of course, getting top billing in most French papers.
That's right. It's on the front page of La Croix today, the Christian newspaper that talks about 4 tragic days in Amenas. Now, in their editorial, La Croix points out that this violent raid on the part of Algeria has raised a lot of questions and drawn a lot of criticism abroad, mainly in Europe, the US, and in Japan. Criticism for this lack of information, for very heavy-handed intervention. Now, La Croix points out that France has decided to back Algeria's intervention and say that they fully supported it because, according to La Croix, France needs to make sure that it's brushing Algeria the right way because it needs Algeria's help in their intervention in Mali. But La Croix says that France is betting a lot, putting all their chips in one corner to support Algeria in such a way. Sticking on the hostage crisis, according to an article in Le Parisien, there was at least one French citizen that was who was among the terrorist hostage takers. Now, Aujourd'hui en France is quoting police sources saying this, and they say that he was reportedly killed during the Algerian army's raid. Now, the government hasn't confirmed whether or not this is the case, but according to Aujourd'hui en France, not very much is known about this man. For instance, his name doesn't come up in any wanted lists, but according to Aujourd'hui en France, this is an indication that he perhaps was in the area for quite some time.
Okay, well, meanwhile, Les Echos, the business paper, are looking at the economic consequences of that hostage crisis.
That's right, economic consequences for businesses that are in the Sahel and Sahara region. According to Les Echos, they're really having to rethink their security strategies because in risky zones like that, it's up to businesses. They're completely responsible for the security and the safety of their personnel. So this means cross-checking the loyalty of local employees, of making sure that any kind of routes they use are safe. It also means stepping up any personnel they have to protect their employees, and this is often private security agencies. But the article points out that it's very hard to arm these private security agencies in the area.
Okay, well, meanwhile, linked but also separate, the situation in Mali is getting a lot of attention. It's on the front page of Libération.
That's right. Libération takes a closer look at the Malian army, and it calls it the alarming Malian army. And it says that it describes an army that's internally divided, lacking any kind of equipment, and also not without this kind of war culture in it. Now, according to soldiers that Libération interviews, they say that if France hadn't intervened, the whole country would have been taken over. They say they feel boosted and inspired by the French military operation. But there's one interesting detail in the article, and that's that any soldiers that are of Arabic or Tuareg origin, they've been ordered to stay in their barracks because there's a real lack of trust within the Malian army, which is unfortunate because these are soldiers that really know the northern region quite well.
Okay. Well, so far here in France, meanwhile, politicians across the spectrum have supported that intervention so far.
According to an article in Le Figaro, this kind of political consensus is disintegrating. It says that the sacred union will have lasted just about a week, but dissonant voices are starting to make themselves heard on the right and also on the far left. For instance, within the opposition, Brice Hortefeux, who was the former interior minister under Nicolas Sarkozy and is often seen as the unofficial spokesperson for Nicolas Sarkozy, he says that he has doubts about the preparation, in both logistically and diplomatically. So according to this article in Le Figaro, this is a way to have Nicolas Sarkozy's own criticism be heard and this feeling that France is isolated. Other people say that they feel like there's no real clear strategy and there are fears that France could be entering this kind of uncontrollable spiral.
Okay, well, meanwhile, Le Figaro is focusing on something completely different. France and Germany are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Élysée Treaty. You'll have to tell us what that is.
That's right. The Élysée Treaty is a friendship treaty that was signed in 1963 to reconcile the two former foes. It's on the front page of Le Figaro that says that Franco-German friendship is out of order. François Hollande and Angela Merkel are going to be meeting in Berlin, and according to Le Figaro, their meeting is going to be marked by economic and diplomatic tension. But Le Figaro points out that this friendship treaty is a very important one, both for France and for Germany.
Okay, and just very quickly to finish, the snowy weather also getting some attention.
That's right. There's some great photos in Aujourd'hui en France website if ever you want to go take a look at just how beautiful Paris was over the weekend. Here's my favorite one. This is the man being pulled by his dog on a snowboard. There's also some little kids that got very creative and all piled up on a snowboard. There you see them making their way down an avenue near the Arc of Triumph. So do check out Le Parisien. There's some beautiful photos.
Well, Paris does look lovely in the snow. Thank you very much indeed, France, for that look at today's papers.